Education. It is a real concern right now. Whether you used to do public school, private school, homeschool, the way we're doing education now is just vastly different than it was 2 months ago. And I'm hearing a lot of fear and a lot of concern from parents. And my heart is going out to parents who are very nervous about potential regression in their children, the loss of learning. So I wanted to offer some thoughts I've been having and some encouragement, hopefully, to parents who are concerned about schools being closed, till the mid-May, probably to the end of the school year. A lot of what I'm hearing is nervousness about regression and being overwhelmed at the amount of work being sent home. Schools and teachers are doing their best to try and be a support, but it is overwhelming to the parents trying to figure out this whole new schedule and whole new system of educating children at home with somebody else's methods and requirements. And while working from home, oh my goodness, my head just spins thinking at what parents are adjusting to right now. I'm hearing a lot of concerns about what has to be done for school. And I'd like to flip that from what has to be done for school to what we get to do for learning. So always flipping have to and get to is very helpful. It's reminding we have choice, we have control, we have more say in the matter. It gives us that internal locus of control rather than we have to do this. The external locus of control, if you will, is outside of us. No, we get to do this. But I'd also like to focus on the change of words from school to learning. Why do we send our kids to school in whatever form we do? Ultimately, it's to learn. Let's not get those conflated. Let's not conflate the means with the ends. The means of learning, or the way that we achieve the end of learning, is through school. And how we do that can vary and can be different. But let's not forget that your child, regardless of where they are, regardless of how much time you can dedicate to workbooks and worksheets, is going to learn. They are. They may not always learn what you want them to learn, but they are learning. I'm speaking especially to parents of elementary schoolers. That's the age of my kiddos right now. And I just really wanted to reassure all parents, but especially parents of elementary schoolers, your child is learning. When I start every year with my homeschooling, I always write out my goals and my values for approaching my homeschool year. What do I want my children to be able to accomplish? And there's 3 things I want you to think about when setting goals for your new form of homeschooling, forced homeschooling, whatever. Keep your goals reasonable. You might still have to reconcile what you're doing at home with what the school district is expecting of you. So don't add so many things that you're now doing, 3 times as much stuff because you're also trying to get grades into the school district. I am hearing that a lot of school districts are practicing some common sense things about grades, especially in the elementary school years. Because what's the purpose of grades is to assess learning. But you as a parent, you know if your child is reading, you know if your child is getting it. Grades are helpful when you have big groups of children. You can't have a full, page-long explanation on every child. If you have 30 kids in your class, this child can do the X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z. Grades are quick, simple, easy way of accomplishing that. But you as a parent don't need to assign your child grades because you know Timmy can add 2 plus 2. I don't need to give him a grade for it. I know he can do it, so I know he's ready to move on. But again, keep your goals reasonable. Make your goals interesting to you, the parent. You're not going to follow anything that you don't want to do. I mean, we've got enough going on, so make sure your goals are of interest to you and try and have them be fun for the kids as well. Not everything's going to be fun. We have 2 hours a day of schoolwork that is sometimes not always fun. We have to do our reading, we have to do our spelling words, we have to do our math workbook. But the majority of our day is filled with activities that sometimes are adult-led, but a lot of times are child-led, and it's stuff that they want to do. They go out in the backyard and they explore, and sometimes they're scientists, and sometimes they're chefs, and sometimes they're gymnasts. It doesn't always have to be adult-led, but it is fun for the kids. And if you can combine what's fun for them and what's interesting to you, all the better. My daughters and I are really into watching a YouTube cooking show right now, and so we've been watching those. And so yesterday we decided to make some candy using candy molds that I already had in the house. And it was interesting to me, and it was fun for them. That was learning right there. So think about your goals. Keep them reasonable, keep them interesting, keep them fun. Write out your goals and values. Have them written down. It can be very helpful to reference back to them when you're struggling with the monotony of doing forced homeschooling or even not forced homeschooling. When you write them out, I wrote mine out this last year. I wrote mine out and I noticed that I had a common theme. Freedom and flexibility were very important to me. And so every time I start to struggle with the monotony of homeschooling, I remember I get to have flexibility and freedom to pursue their interests, to do age-appropriate things, to show them stories and read them stories that promote values that I agree with. And when I ended up writing out all the things that were important to me, uh, they were values, excellence, relationships, interest, time, age appropriateness, and scripture. Every letter of that spelled out Veritas, which is Latin for truth. My beautiful friend Dee Dee Ruhr ended up writing up. I gave her my values, and she wrote them in this gorgeous word art. We homeschool to pass on our values, to practice excellence in our work, to build relationships with all ages, to explore our kids' interests, to control our time, to be able to offer age-appropriate content, and to do it all with God's scripture at the center. Veritas. I want to reiterate again, during this time, let's flip the script. This is not what we have to do to school our kids. What do we get to do? And how are we helping our kids learn? That's the ultimate. We want them to learn. And coming back to this word veritas, in Latin means truth. Isn't that ultimately the end and the purpose that we want for our kids? We want them to learn the truth and to see beauty. So write down your goals. Set reasonable, interesting goals for you. Make it fun for yourself. Write down your values and what you get to accomplish being home with your kids. And just remember, especially you parents of young elementary schoolers, they do not need 6 hours at the dining room table doing what looked like school. They maybe need 2 hours, 3 at the most, for actual school work, the workbooks and the worksheets. The rest of your day, you have flexibility and you have freedom to make it fit your family. I hope this encourages you, and let's just keep encouraging one another. If you have questions or resources, please ask me. If I don't know, I will find somebody who does, because there are just so many more experts out there than me, who are far better than I am at this. But I wanted to offer you that encouragement. We get to help our children learn. Like this and agree with these values and would want your own copy, let me know. I can get you in touch with Dee Dee. She does sell them. I do get a small commission, but I would promote this even if I wasn't. I just want to be upfront about it. Or if you have your own goals, have them written out and I can check with her to see if she'd be willing to make you your own custom homeschool goals. And I set mine on my piano. Sometimes I put it in my dining room and I look at it for encouragement when we're having a rough day with schooling.